Our color spot bacterial identification system features a biplate with a selective chromogenic medium recommended for the cultivation and differentiation of various gram-negative and gram-positive bacteria and yeast based on colony color and morphology. Selective agents have been added to each side of the biplate to allow for growth of gram-positive organisms and yeast on one side and gram-negative organisms on the other side. When received, please store at 2 to 8 degrees Celsius and away from direct light. If there are any signs of deterioration, for example shrinking or cracking, contamination, or if the expiration date has passed, please do not use the media. If there are any issues, please do not hesitate to contact your technical support specialist. It is necessary that the media is kept away from excessive light, heat, freezing, and moisture. Although the chromogens are sensitive to light and extreme temperatures, they are not affected by back and forth transportation from room temperature destinations to the refrigerator. Before use, please allow the plates to warm to room temperature. The agar surface should be completely dry prior to inoculating. If using a urine specimen, inoculate both sides of the biplate as soon as possible after the specimen has been collected. Do not wait or the results have a high chance of being inaccurate. For quantitative testing, streak each side of the plate with a 0.01 milliliter calibrated loop. For all other specimen types, inoculate both sides of the biplate with a specimen by streaking each side of the biplate for isolation. Start with heavier streaks at the top of the plate and as you move down, make longer, more spaced out strokes. Streaking the plate allows for dilution of the sample and also provides well-isolated and well-defined colonies of bacteria. Therefore, the process is much easier for distinguishing each organism. Incubate the plates in an inverted position at 37 plus or minus 2 degrees Celsius for 18 to 24 hours. Examine the plates for colonies showing typical morphology and color after 24 hours, but no later than 72 hours. Please be aware that yeast may require 48 hours for adequate growth. Also, do not incubate in an atmosphere supplemented with carbon dioxide. Isolated colonies should be visible on the plates after incubation, which are crucial for demonstration of typical color and morphology. Please note that growth of gram-positive organisms and yeast will only occur on side 1 of the biplate, and growth of gram-negative organisms will only grow on side 2. Please refer to the color spot bacterial color reference chart to determine the organism that has grown. For additional assistance, please contact our technical support team. Our antibiotic sensitivity testing allows you to test multiple antibiotics on certain pathogens. Simply choose your antibiotics, create a panel, and it will show the resistance and sensitivity of your antibiotics. There are 3 options for dispensers: a single disc, a 6-disc, and an 8-disc dispenser. This system allows you to determine the best treatment for your patient. Here are the materials that are needed: Mueller-Hinton sensitivity media at room temperature, sensitivity dilution solution, swab with an acrylic tipped applicator, turbidity standard picture chart, selected antibiotic sensitivity disc and dispenser, incubator, metric ruler, and a report chart. Before use, please allow the Mueller-Hinton sensitivity plates to warm to room temperature. The agar surface should be dry prior to inoculating. It is extremely important that the organism is not transferred directly from the ID plate onto the Mueller-Hinton sensitivity plate. Use the acrylic-tipped applicator swab to scoop up 3 to 4 well-isolated colonies of the organism on the ID plate. Insert that swab into the dilution solution and swirl it around, suspending the bacteria into the solution. Compare the turbidity or cloudiness of the bacterial solution to the turbidity standard tube pictured in the turbidity standard picture chart that is included in your kit. The dilution tube should be close to the turbidity of the standard tube pictured on the left. If your solution is not turbid enough, collect another colony with the swab until you have achieved close to the desired turbidity. Using the same swab, inoculate the Mueller-Hinton sensitivity plate by striking lines with the swab from top to bottom and from side to side. Then, with the same swab, completely cover the surface of the media with the bacterial solution. The goal is to completely paint the surface of the media with the solution. The best way to do this is to cover the surface in 3 ways: top to bottom, side to side, then give the plate a quarter turn and do it again. Repeat this 3 times. Please note, do not dip the swab into the solution each time. The initial dip of the swab into the solution is sufficient to properly inoculate the plate. Load the antibiotic disc dispenser with your selected antibiotics. Your account representative can help customize your antibiotic choices. Place the dispenser over the inoculated Mueller-Hinton sensitivity plate and press down on the plunger. This will dispense and tamp the antibiotics into place. Place the cover on the plate and label it with the name and date. Incubate the plates in an inverted position for 18 to 24 hours, but no longer than 36 hours. After an incubation period of 18 to 24 hours, the Mueller-Hinton plate should show growth over the entire surface of the media, except for where the antibiotics have inhibited growth. Please be aware, though, that in some instances, there may not be complete coverage of the media with bacterial growth. Instead, there might be dispersed growth of isolated colonies. If this is the case, it is okay. Results can still be interpreted from this plate. Without removing the cover and while reading from the bottom of the plate, measure the diameter of the zone of inhibition, or the zone of no growth, around each of the antibiotic discs. To measure the zone of inhibition, use a metric ruler and measure across the zone going directly through the center of the disc. If there is not a zone of inhibition, or if the bacteria grows right up to the antibiotic disc, this is a 0 or a no zone result, and it is a resistant antibiotic. Use the worksheet provided to log in the zone sizes of each antibiotic. Each antibiotic has a zone size located on the worksheet that will indicate whether the antibiotic is sensitive, resistant, or intermediate resistant. Using the same metric ruler as used previously, measure from the center of the antibiotic disc to the bacterial colony that is growing closest to the disc. Right now, the radius is being measured, but the diameter is needed. In order to find the diameter, multiply the measured radius by 2. For example, if the measurement was 15 millimeters, then the zone of inhibition is 30 millimeters. This is the number that should be logged on the result sheet for interpretation.